So many mums experience overwhelm, and that means on a fairly regular basis they're feeling exhausted, panicked, trapped, like they're drowning, like they want to run away. It's not a great way to exist. I myself have experienced overwhelm many times over my life, and that includes before motherhood, and I've learned something really important from these experiences. And that is that the things that I feel most inclined to do when I'm experiencing overwhelm are exactly the opposite of the things that actually help me overcome it. Let's think about that for a moment. Our brains are not functioning at their highest potential when we're overwhelmed. Our judgment and our decision making aren't at their best. So perhaps the things that we think we should do in those moments are not the best course of action. So what can we do? Well, today in this video, I'd love to share some counterintuitive strategies that I use to help me overcome overwhelm. And they're not about rushing into frenzied action, because when we do go straight to action, we continue in that panicked, stressed state where we're not thinking really well and we're not making great decisions and we're not performing at our best. So these counterintuitive strategies are all about giving yourself, your mind and your emotions the chance to reset and then go about getting things done more effectively and more quickly. The first strategy is pause and prepare your mind. Now, I know that it feels like you don't even have 30 seconds to pause. I used to get so irritated when anybody required me to pause for anything when I was feeling overwhelmed. But I promise you that taking a few minutes to reset mentally and emotionally will save you time in the long run. So just pause, close your eyes if you want to, and do some deep breathing. Long, slow breaths. I like to imagine myself breathing in calm and breathing out overwhelm. This calms your nervous system down and helps clear your mind. Then accept how you're feeling. I used to resist the fact that I was feeling overwhelmed. I would try and convince myself that I was fine. I was managing. Everything was under control, even while I was falling apart. This doesn't work. So instead now, I accept that I'm feeling overwhelmed because the quickest way to move through and past your feelings is to accept them. And your feelings are just that. They're feelings. They're not you, and they will pass. And accepting them does not mean you are weak, and it is not a sign that you have failed, but it allows you to move past them. It can help to make your feelings separate to yourself. So you might say to yourself something like, I notice a feeling of overwhelm in me. And then you can extend yourself some self-compassion, acknowledging that it's okay to feel like this and that you're only human. So you might say to yourself something like, it's okay to feel this way. Many other people feel overwhelmed at times, and I will get through this. That's a really important part of the process. The next piece is a game changer. This really makes all the difference. And that is to change your mindset from I don't have enough time to I have enough time. You might be thinking that's completely ridiculous right now. And I can tell you I struggled with this for the longest time, but it is seriously important if you want to be able to manage overwhelm well. We do have enough time, not to do everything. We can do anything, but we can't do everything. What we do have enough time for is the important things. Because busyness is a state of mind. You could have someone who has an incredibly full plate and they feel completely in flow and calm. And you might have someone else who's comparatively not busy, but they feel stressed and frenzied and overwhelmed. So try telling yourself, I have enough time for the things that are important, and see what happens. The next strategy is to prioritize and plan. Notice we're not getting into action yet. There's still some things we can do to make sure that when we do get into action, we'll be working effectively and efficiently. So prioritize and plan. The thing that I find works best here is to simply grab a pen and a piece of paper and brain dump everything that you have to do. every little thing, from fixing that toy to picking up the dry cleaning, from hanging the washing out to writing that report for work, from cooking that meal to exercising, whatever it might be, write it down, because keeping it in your head is making you stressed and consuming precious mental resources. That might take 10 to 15 minutes, but just get everything down. Don't evaluate it or edit your list, just write it down. Then we're going to shorten that list. And I don't know about you, but I love crossing things off lists. So let's get crossing out. The first thing that you can cross out is anything that is not in your control. So things that other people have to do or that you really have no influence over. Cross them out. And then cross out anything that you don't want to do. Now, there might be some core responsibilities of yours that you don't want to do, so you need to make an assessment about whether you can really cross them out. But there's bound to be some things on your list that you don't want to do and you can cross them out. Things that you feel obligated to do, things that you're just not that passionate about, or things that have been on your to-do list for a really, really long time and you just never get to them. Cross them out. Then cross out the things that don't really matter. I really believe that all of us have at least one of these things on our to-do lists. It's the thing that if you didn't do it, nothing significantly bad would happen. And perhaps you're doing something because you are worried about what other people might think. Well, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen here? And then try and cross it out. We're trying to shorten your list here and lighten your load. Then you want to have a look for things that you can delegate to someone else and make a note of that on your list. And also things that you can defer until later, because the whole point of this is to try and do less when you're overwhelmed, not more. So what can you put off until later and it would still be okay? Now your list should be looking shorter and you should have left all the important things. So just do a check to make sure that you have all the important things and only the important things on your list. Now we're going to create a plan. And what I mean by that is to actually plot time in your schedule or calendar for each of these important tasks. Some people think that having a schedule like this is actually quite restrictive and they don't like it. But in actual fact, it's quite freeing because it allows you to focus on what you're doing at the present time and not worry about any of the other things because you know that there will be time for those things. So it might be over a week, it might be over a day, it might be over a month, whatever you need to do based on what's on your list. And the schedule can change, but put those important things in the schedule. Don't forget to consider when you're at your best. So if you think more clearly in the morning, try to schedule those more challenging tasks for then. Don't do the most important things late at night if you're really exhausted all the time at that time. Also, make sure you schedule some time for downtime or self-care. Now, I know you don't feel like you have time for self-care, but the time when you need self-care the most is when you think you have no time for it. So it could be 5 minutes here and there. It doesn't have to be a significant amount of time, but every little moment counts. So make sure that you schedule it in. That will help you combat the effects of negative stress and avoid burnout, and also help you refocus and get things done. And then make sure you build in a little bit of flexibility in your schedule. I used to always schedule every minute of my day. And then if something unexpected happened or something changed, I would freak out. So allowing yourself a little bit of space in your calendar, building in a little bit of extra time for the tasks, or just some empty blocks of time, might be only 15, 20 minutes. It allows you to cope with the unexpected better. And we all know there's plenty of unexpected in motherhood, isn't there? So let's just recap. My strategies for overcoming overwhelm before you jump into action are to pause and prepare your mind, and then to prioritize and plan. And if you use these strategies before taking action, you'll find that you'll move through overwhelm faster and you will get all the important things done. If you'd like to talk more about how to overcome overwhelm in your life, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.